Hello, math students. Welcome back to Module 3, Expressions and Equations. This is Lesson 2, and it is called Combining Like Terms. All right, combining like terms. Our goal for today. Today we will learn how to identify different terms and sort them. The question that I want you to think about in this lesson is, how do you categorize terms? All right, so things to know. Terms are determined by sorting them into groups that they have in common. So if we take a look at an example in English that they have sometimes is, how would you sort these words? If you were to read these words right here, how would you sort them? We have grape, yellow, sandal, apple, blue, and boot. So if you just look at that list of words right there, how many groups are there? So grape is a fruit, yellow is a color, sandal is a shoe, apple is a fruit, blue is a color, boot is a shoe. Oh, I see. If I was going to answer that question, I would say there are 3 groups. Okay? And then I would say that in the groups I have a fruit, I have a color, and I have a shoe. So I see 3 different groups. Okay? Then it says, how do you know which words belong to which group? And the reason that I know which words belong to which group is because of what they are. I know that grapes and apples are both fruit. So I know that this fruit group has grapes and it has apples under it. Then I know that my color group has the color yellow and the color blue under it. And then I know that the shoe group has a sandal and a boot. So that's how I was able to identify which words belong to which groups. So now what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing, but instead of doing English, we're now going to switch it over to math. So it says now try the same sorting thing with expressions. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to look at what we have, and we have to decide what groups they have. So I have 7x plus 4 minus 2x plus 8. So I don't know about you, but I am seeing definitely some interesting things where some of them have x's, but the others don't. So I'm going to say that this is one group because it has x's, right? And then I'm going to say that this is a separate group because it doesn't, okay? And so we're going to say we have the x group, right? We have the x group, right? And then we also have just the number group. Okay? And so just like we did up above, we're going to write them under where they are. So in the number group, we have 4 and 8, right? And in the x group, we have 7x and we have 2x. Okay? So we sorted them by group. And then the other thing that I did is I used different shapes. So if it had an X, I put a box around it. And if it didn't have an X, I just circled it. Okay, so that's another way to group them. All right, so now let's look at the next one and see what we can find. So I'm seeing 1/2 x plus 6y plus 7 plus 5.5 x plus 12. So this time, this one has an x and this one has an x. That one does not have an x, that one does not, that one does not. So I am going to say that this is one group. Okay, so that's going to be the x group, so I put boxes around it. And then I'm going to say that this is the y group, but there's only one, so I'm going to make that one a heart because it's all by itself. And then I'm going to say that these are the circles because they don't have any variables. So again, I have 3 different terms this time. So I have my x group again, right? And in my x group, I have 1/2 x, and I have 5.5 x. And then I have my y group, okay? And my y group only has 1, and that's 6y. And then I have my number group, right? And my number group has 2 in there, it has 7, and it has 12. Okay? So again, I've sorted my expressions based on what they have in common. Okay? So identifying the different terms and sorting them. Okay? So let's go back up to our, first of all, name of our lesson. It's called Combining Like Terms. So let's go back down here really quick. Combining like terms means they can only be put together if they have the same thing in common. So the x's could be put together. So if I have 7 x's and 2 x's, really I have 9 x's. If I have 4 and I have 8, really I have 12. If I have 1/2 x and 5.5 x, I really have 6 x's. If I only have 6 y's, then I have 6 y's, and 7 and 12 together make 19. So we're actually combining them once they were put in the correct group. So today we will learn how to identify different terms and how to sort them, which is exactly what we just did. And then how do you categorize the terms? Well, I don't know about you yet, but for me, the way I categorize them is by shape. So if they have the same thing in common, it's the same shape. So square, square, those are in the same group. Circle, circle, those are in the same group. Square, square, those are in the same group. Heart is in the same group. Circle, circle is in the same group. So I use the shapes to help me categorize them. Okay? All right, we're going to be doing some practice with this at school, so I'll see y'all later. Bye!